pollution, degradation, and meanwhile $1 trillion worth of food is wasted across the globe every single year. It's called the mother of all systemic problems, but what can we do about it?
Well, to discuss this in the studio with us now, we have Keiran Whitaker, who's the CEO and founder of Entocycle, and Clementine Schuterdin, Insight and Analysis Lead, and Cities and Circular Economy for Food Lead at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Hello to you both.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today. And Keiran, you've been part of the very buzzy Y-Combinator Accelerator, and you must be used to delivering a quick pitch. Without ruining your talk, which is coming up shortly, what's the Entocycle pitch?
So we're fully automating the production of insects using essentially smart robotics to do this. So we can actually scale properly what is becoming, it is a niche concept, it's becoming very mainstream. By like verbal, you read about it every day, but actually in principle and practice it's not happening.
Why do we want insects?
Because insects are highly nutritious protein that can be used to feed almost anything from animals to humans, and they have a very, very low carbon footprint.
And this won't be news to you, but insects have obviously been around for a long, long time.
About 150 billion years.
150 billion years.
Millions, sorry.
150 billion years. Is it just the technology? Has that been the main barrier? Why are we not using more insects for animal feed or for human consumption?
I think there was never the pressure point previously, so we never, it didn't matter if we cut down more rainforest to grow soy, it didn't matter if we went and fished more small pelagic fish to feed salmon, for example. And then all of a sudden we get to a tipping point where the population is at such a large point, we are running out of spaces to actually farm food to humans, let alone to feed animals. And all of these are kind of coming to what is a protein crunch in terms of, amino acids are the building block of life. Without having the ability to, we could keep digging away at the earth before, and now we're getting to that frontier point where actually, why don't we just return back to a natural process? As you said, insects are 150 million years old. The technology is also catching up. We are this is just from several junctions. It's meaning that we need to do it now, and the technology is meaning we can do it now. And I would also say the hype around the financing is also meaning we can do it now. So it's kind of getting to the point where it's just going to happen. Whether we want it to or not, it will happen.
We will be eating insects?
We will be eating insects. Whether that's protein-infused pasta or protein-infused breads or protein shakes, it just will happen.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Entocycle, is food waste part of it? That food waste is fed to the insects?
So we use brewer and whiskey grain, coffee waste, fruit and potato waste, essentially blend it all up into like a recipe for the insects. Put it in a very fixed ratio and they eat it and turn it into soil.
And some people would say, why don't you just get the waste down? Why shouldn't we just focus on reducing all that waste anyway?
So, fully agree, but there are certain food streams that just will always have waste. So beer, for example, every pint you drink, 1/3 of that is waste.
And not in my pint.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You may drink all of it. But yeah, so the solid grains that come out of it and also the liquid waste that comes out of that. And the liquid waste, breweries spend millions a year processing this. So it's high in energy, high in nutrients. Why not feed it to something that can convert it?
And are you finding that people want to give you their waste? Is that like an attractive proposition for them, or is it you that are buying the waste off of them?
So right now we're getting it for free. Yeah. Being in the heart of London, it just goes into bins. As we scale,
You're not going into the bins.
We are not going into the bins. So we're doing pre-consumer, post-processing waste. We see that we will have to end up paying for it, and that's the way it should go. As the whole Ellen MacArthur Foundation principles are, if you can associate a value to what is a waste stream or what is the end or the beginning of a circle, you can put it back into the supply chain and it closes the loop. So we actually want to produce that as a cost, to create it into a valuable stream.
And Clem, Cities and Circular Economy for Food is something that you've been working on. What is that about and what are the priorities?
So the priorities is to design a model for cities to feed in a way that is less wasteful, healthier, more regenerative. We basically ask ourselves, how do you feed cities in the future, in tomorrow's world?
And are you looking at this sort of innovation? Is this the sort of thing that crops up when you're thinking about that future of food?
Yeah, absolutely. Like one of our pillars is food design and food innovation and also nutrient looping. So in that respect, insects that are grown on organic waste are totally part of the scope of solutions that we are looking to study.
Mm-hmm. And what about the role of technology? Obviously we had this session this morning which had a fair amount of tech loaded into it. How crucial is that in what you're looking at the moment?
It's a very interesting question because Obviously, technology has potential for food. When you think about blockchain or artificial intelligence, that's going to shape supply chains for the better. But we also have to recognize that food is a very emotional topic and part of people's identity and culture. So consumer acceptance will always shape how much can be changed with technology in regards to food.
So how much of it is encouraging people to change the way they do things? I mean, I've eaten a giant water bug at the DIF last year, and it was ghastly. I've got to be honest. I'm sorry. I tried a locust as well. That was way better.
That's
how much of it is about changing what people eat?
Yeah, I mean, and the question is, how much do you want people to change without noticing? Or how much do you want people to change by, really forcing into new behaviors? And I think it's about finding the balance between asking people to change and asking the system to change, so that people change without having to go out of their way to make a difference. Yeah.
Links to something that we just had that conversation with the previous guests.
About creating a system that works rather than asking each person to alter.
Yeah, I think you need to be, find a point in the middle where consumers are willing to make a difference, but also the system is willing to provide that effort as well for them to make that new model become a reality. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both. I will let you go, Keiran, because I know you're taken to the stage in about 20 odd minutes or so.
Indeed.
So I'll let you go and get in the zone. Thank you both for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day at 28 Summit.